Welcome to episode 142 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, host Stephen Loeffler at Junkwax Twins.
Oh, hi.
Ben Wilson at our trading cards, and I'm Tim Scheffler at Big Shep 79. We are a podcast by collectors for collectors, and we hope to bring you a smart and insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific,
11 Central Eastern,
on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available as a podcast everywhere you can find one. Check out the website aboutthecards.wordpress.com. Guys, I am so happy that Ben's here tonight. I know it's a big night for him. Normally he's got to go out and protect his pot of gold, being St. Patty's Day, but happy St. Patty's Day to everyone. And Whitaker does not belong in the Hall of Fame, but hey.
Whitaker does, and the beauty about being a leprechaun is, hey, nobody can find the pot of gold, so I actually was able to take the night off.
There you go. So, Steph's on location tonight. He's you're hanging out in Dayton?
Yep, a suburb thereof.
There you go, doing big things. I figured you were going there for because usually that's where they have the play-in tournament for the March Madness. But I think everything's in Indy this year.
No, she wanted to see her parents, and I've got an aunt and my grandma staying with her. So it's been about a year or so since we've seen them all. So
nice little family vacay.
Anyway. Yeah, indeed.
You're gonna go look
answer
for,
see, you should know this. Answer the little small thing. They're not very tall. They kind of bite.
My aunts do that.
I can see over the dashboard just fine, boys.
Yeah, with 3 phone books underneath you.
Oh man.
Yeah, but they're yellow. They're white pages, not yellow pages.
Oh, just look at all that blubber from the white. Steph, you doing any card hunting while you're up there?
We've tried. We did stop in at her local shop. They didn't have all too much, and of course they had supply restrictions. We stopped at 2 or 3 Walmarts on the drive up. I think we made it in about 16 hours or so. But all of them were sold out. Yeah. The only thing we broke is a couple of magic packs.
I opened my first Pokemon pack the other day.
And we did get a couple of Pokemon cards.
Well, so my mom comes over to see the kids on Sunday, and she's like, hey, I found these Pokemon in my Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I was going to give these to the kids. And I was like, well, let me open that first. And so there were 2 base cards in there, whatever. But I did pull out some kind of a hollow foil,
nice
Pikachu. I don't know if it's worth anything, but I figured it had some foil too, and it was one I knew. So
one of the top characters in the show / game.
So just living the dream.
No, he's always been the character mascot for the series.
And he had that movie.
And the movies and the games and the card series. Yeah, no, that's not a bad one to have, with it being the 25th anniversary.
I choose you, Pikachu.
Indeed. Actually, that's one of the ones that we picked up here. Let me get back to you on that. But I got a picture of it.
He's out of his element, so he can't.
I know, everything's moved around. It's a different
locale. But I'm taking that from him. So listen, we've switched roles on this show really quick. We're going to pull the curtain back a little bit. So whenever we do, I ask the guys questions like, hey, I need you to have 3 of this or pick one of these. For the longest time, Ben couldn't. He always had multiples, right? Well, now that we're doing these, 9-page teams from the decades, Steph can't just simply pick 9 position players in a pitch. He's got to throw in a DH, 7 pitcher. He's putting different people at a position they never played in the major leagues. Breaking all the rules.
Listen.
And then Steph used to always pull out random card. Now I feel like I've been doing that. So what's Ben doing of what I've been doing? I don't know. So it's just the roles being mixed around in here is very confusing.
Crack me up because I'm looking at Steph's 90s team, and I know we're going to talk about it later, but he's like Jeff Bagwell, third base. And I'm like, you know what, Tim, I changed mine. I'm going to put Randy Johnson in left field. I really think he should get onto my team.
You had Eckersley on there somewhere too.
I was like, yeah, let me just throw Eckersley at second base. It's like you can't.
I figured out what it was too.
Yeah.
But first, they had these. They're like 5x7. The V series, for like $1 or $2. So I couldn't not pick that up.
Well, that's cool.
No, I figured out what it was. So in the video games that I would play, I would always take the rating 99 players and trade onto one team and see how much they could dominate the league. Well, with all of the Chipper Joneses of the world, I took Jeff Bagwell and threw him at third base.
Well, he did play third base in the minor leagues.
So I think that's what it was.
Steph, who's on your shirt, by the way?
Kaprizov. So there's a picture of his face, and then just below that it says Dollar Bill Kirill, which is one of the nicknames our defenseman gave him.
He's talking hockey for all of you who don't speak hockey.
I'm watching hockey right now. Sharks.
It's almost
Vegas.
like we're going to have some hockey talk soon. Maybe next week.
Yeah, Series 2's coming out. We're efforting a huge guest. So
somebody who almost got plowed yesterday.
Do that. So, okay, that, and then remember when he got rolled at the Vikings game that I sent out to everybody? I'm watching a Vikings game like 2 years ago, and he's just getting mauled. I was like, oh, damn. All right, guys, let's get into it before we just ramble for an hour and a half. The week that was last week's releases, Topps Living League 157, we had card 395, Roberto Alomar, Hall of Fame second baseman, Toronto Blue Jays. And card 396, Pavin Smith, rookie first baseman, Arizona Diamondbacks. No updates on the sale numbers there. We had 2021 Panini Revolution basketball.
When was the last time they actually were up to date ahead of time?
They're updated. It's been like a month or so. They're a good I think they updated the week 2 weeks ago, like Monday. So
it's just a thing I'd noticed that December-ish we were always either the day before or during the show we got an update, but now they've been behind for the last several.
If you're collecting Star Wars Living, they literally did not post the pictures last week.
Nice one.
7 days, and I don't know who the two were, but I know the one that they had on their on their emails and stuff like that was not a well-known character. I mean, if it's like Han Solo or something, right, you're gonna probably buy it regardless. But with the Star Wars canon being so huge, and them pulling from not just the movies, but the cartoons and the the different books and everything. I mean, it's ridiculous. So
they still haven't updated the artwork
as of yesterday when the new ones dropped.
As of right now.
Gotcha. See,
Darth Bane was a bigger character in the cartoon series.
Now, okay,
and I honestly, to be honest,
is
Darth Bane Bane's dad from Batman?
Would know. Just can't see a picture. If you want us to buy this, I mean, what if it's a good-looking card and I would buy it just to buy it because okay. I mean, using me as an example, Star Wars Living, Baseball Living, I'm only buying specific cards, and I've bought some just because they look good, and you know what such and such player is.
This was one of the singers in Solo, A Star Wars Story.
Yeah. So Matt says the two unshown Star Wars were also high print runs. So,
crazy.
People just taking their chances, right?
But it's just, I mean, if you can post these pictures every day of all of the other stuff, the Muhammad Ali's and the Sports Illustrated and all of these other non-Project 70, obviously, because that's their mistress right now. It's just, come on, dude, you have 7 days.
This guy.
Real quick, and talk about that. I asked Leaf last week. I was like, hey, weekend, hey, you've updated, you put out all their Pro Set number 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 autographs, but the base cards aren't up there. And then Brian responded back to me and said, hey, this week. And it's Wednesday night, and they're still not up there. So we're halfway through the week. I mean, we're missing Jalen Waddle, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Najee Harris, and Travis Etienne, and I'm going to add them all because I want to build this set. But Leaf, I'm trying to give you my money. Like, I want to give you money, lots of it, because I want to build this set because it's cool. The card I got the Trevor Lawrence, looks great in hand. And you can't show me the card. You don't have him up there.
I literally just bought a Tyler Soderstrom auto this week from Leaf, and I gave him kudos. And then he goes and pulls this. It's like, look.
Come on, man. Let's do it.
You want us to talk nice about you? We did.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep... Yeah, you keep. I'm gonna talk about the print runs, everything. You guys keep this up. Yeah, it's great. So, Ken's asking if I did a reorg. Yeah. So, like, if you look over my shoulder back here, you can see like where it says Topps and has all my years of Topps cards, and then now I'm up to 14 empty 5,000 count boxes, and I'm working on my my Giants sets. My Giants duplicates that aren't in binders right now. And so that's been fun. Totally geeking out, And then I have these fancy dividers I make. So I know what year they're in.
Nice.
We'll pull out. I figure I have all this time. I might as well put it to good use.
Sure.
Steph does sound like he's airing from Ace Ventura's living room.
That's all right.
Listen, I can't help the fact that my aunt has 5 cats and 2 birds. Oh, and a tarantula.
That's mine.
That's my cousin's, as you heard.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's cool. I love it. We also had 2021 Panini Revolution Basketball, which was like $1 bazillion a box. Remember, in 2020 Panini One Football, or 2020 Panini One Football, and then 21 Donruss Baseball. By the way, you said something, Ben, about it. You talked to somebody. They opened 6 boxes and they couldn't build a set or something.
It's Andrew Bayside. So he was gonna furnish me with the A's team set, and he bought 4 boxes. I don't know if it was at retail or not, but what his MSRP was, I should say. But yeah, he missed the Matt Olson, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, are you sure? Because he got like 3 of this guy and 3 of that guy. And I'm just like, so I was doing the math, and, if you do the math minus the listed pack odds of what parallels you should get and how many autos, literally, if you're opening up 4 boxes, you should come close to 2.5 sets. 2 sets with 60 plus cards left over, whatever the math was. And I tweeted that out this week, and it's like, he literally could not come together with one complete set because he would have been missing at least the Matt Olson. And, again, the base cards are cheap, but if I'm spending $150 a box times 4, $600, and I can't get one base set, I mean, that's ridiculous. And that's, I don't know. It's just the collation has got to be killing people that are trying to put together. And I know base sets, complete sets aren't the thing anymore in the hobby.
Sure.
But at the same time, if you're opening that based on the odds, you should be able to, whether that's your intent or not.
Yeah, I mean,
so with an assist, these are the art pending licensing approval for the 2 players,
So
2 characters.
Alexa.
Yep, he says, this week we're still late with approvals, but here's a look at the paintings that were featured on the cards, this being the Star Wars Living. Arodia Ventifoy is here with a killer voice and killer dress. Seriously, painting this dress almost killed me. Also featured is the ancient Sith Lord Darth Bane, or at least a vision of him. Go to the cards, blah, 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 the link below. Kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, even with a hobby box of Series 1 from Topps, you're really close to getting a full base set. And, it's just, I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, Donruss should be able to, they're giving you it's like almost a mini jumbo box at that point. I mean, because I think it's like 10 packs and 30 cards.
Right.
Is the configuration now for that. And so it's like, you should be pretty close to a base set out of a box like that.
I think my Series 1 hobby box, I was down like 30 cards.
Yeah, out of 330.
I think Donruss last year, I broke 2 boxes, and I was shy, not counting the short prints, 10 10 or so, 15.
Well, the regular hobby boxes, the set's 262. You get 190 cards or something like that, minus all of the parallels and autos. But I don't know what a Donruss baseball base set would go for, but I doubt there's probably very many that are going to be completed. Let's hypothetically say $50 each, right? And you can pull 2 of those out of 4 boxes. So you're going to get 16% of your money
Minus the short prints.
back. And a lot of the photo variations are actually more common.
Well, there's those
more as
2 San Diego Chicken and Domingo Ayala that are quote unquote short prints, but they're the basic set, according to you two chuckle heads.
You should be able to get at least one and close to a second set based on how many cards have come out of those packs. And if you're getting 3 or more of a lot of the guys and you're getting 0 of another, is that just bad? I mean, there's 16 boxes in a case, and you're pulling 4 random ones out. You would still think you would at least get 1 complete set. You have over 600 base cards in there, and you can't get 260 different ones. Come on.
Yeah, that's just tough. Yep. Let's hop into it. Hot off the presses this week's new releases. Topps Living League 158 for 397. Anthony Rendon, third baseman of the Los Angeles Angels, and card 398. Nick Madrigal, rookie second baseman of the Chicago White Sox. Nice week. You have an all-star, a big free agent from last year on his new team, and a young rookie that was a top 5 pick a few years back by the Sox, and hopes to be in their futures for some time, and a local Sacramento kid. So I'm excited for him, this version of him, and then also Darryl Carlson, hopefully coming up soon to add. So
now, is this not Ben?
Oh, it's the better version of Ben.
It is, yeah. Thanks for being an Angels card.
Have you ever noticed too, and I don't know what had happened with the Angels now with Topps for a long time, because they're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim officially or whatever, but they only put Angels on it. They don't even use the word Los Angeles, Anaheim, or any of that anymore. They just go straight to Angels.
The card's only so big. Continued on the other side.
Well, no, but if you look at the checklist too, from Topps, it just says Angels. It doesn't say Los Angeles Angels. It just says Angels.
They really need to just call them the California Angels and be done with it.
Let's do it, man. Florida Marlins. Let's. We all know where you guys play.
Yeah.
You know who the first team to not have a city in their name was, right?
Minnesota Twins.
Damn right. Doing it right.
Well, no. What about the Washington Senators? They weren't the Washington D.C.
They were, though.
Really?
Yeah. Washington isn't a state.
It's not.
Not where they played.
Well, not where they played. Yeah, that was always confusing growing up. When you're in 5th grade, and it's Washington, you're so close.
The team formerly known as the Washington Football Team, and the capital. Yeah, that always screwed with me.
Yeah.
You mean they don't play in Seattle?
My 7-year-old comes up to me the other day. He goes, "Hey, can you help me spell the word there?" And I'm like,
no.
How as a parent, do you try to help him when most adults don't know the proper use of the 3? And even still, I'm trying not to confuse him. I'm like, use it in a sentence. He goes, why? You don't know how to spell it? And I'm like, no, I'm trying to find out if it's the possessive word. I'm like, it's like, just go to school.
Good as Gold says the New York Met or the New York Yankees. They're not the New York City Yankees.
Yeah, are you making stuff up about the Twins just to...
It's the state.
Yeah, so the New York Yankees have been around longer than the Minnesota Twins.
It's a factoid.
Well, it's not a correct. There's some flaws to it. Let's just say that.
It's a fact. I saw it on
the Dodgers Facebook. World Series win this year. It's a flawed or last year. It's a flawed year because it was just it was COVID. So it doesn't truly count, does it?
So fine. What about the Carolina Hurricanes? Which Carolina do they play in?
North.
One of you's right.
West.
Yeah. By the way, the Kansas City Royals technically don't play in Kansas, but there is Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. There are two cities that are divided by a state line.
We get crap all the time for having the Fargo accent, but I was like, that's in North Dakota.
And then also, too, real quick, most of the players live in Kansas and not Missouri. So let's just,
Well,
right,
for tech reasons, or
well, also, I think Overland Park's a lot nicer in a lot of places. And my cousin lives in Kansas City, Missouri. Yeah. 2020 Topps Inception dropped today. It's $175 a box, 1 pack per box, 7 cards per pack. You're going to get 1 autograph or autographed relic, 2 parallels on 4 base cards. It's a 100-card base set with a bold, artistic style design. Does it have the perfect parallels? I'm going to ask you guys this. There's 6 colors: green, purple out of 150, magenta out of 99, red out of 75, orange out of 50, blue out of 25, and the 1-of-1 Inception card. Now, is that just the perfect amount of parallels, colors, numbering that should just be standard?
Yeah.
Love it.
Nice.
And they look good.
They do.
it's a right mix of because I mean it comes how many pack box card?
Seven cards per pack, one pack per box.
Yeah, so for that you would hope not to have 80 parallels.
Yeah. And what's interesting is last year when this released, these boxes were about $75. So now we're up to adding an additional 100 where nothing has changed on the checklist, just the players' names and who's available in them. You know, so but again, last year this was one of the best value products before everything went shit wild. The card stock on these guys is amazing and nice and thick.
That's what I was going to hit on. And I know that John P. had done a good ton of these. And I think I said not last week, but the week prior, that these are one of the better things that I've had in being able to sell, just because there are those few people that want the player set, the team set, or the weirdos that want the full-on 100-card set.
It's so gorgeous. There's silver signings. There's silver signings in there. Those are a case set, and the player there's metallic ink for the autographs. Dawn of Greatness autographs center on a superstar, veterans, and legends from the past. Every 16 box case averages 4 Inception autograph patch cards, which is nice. So you're talking about 1 in every 4 boxes you're going to get an autographed relic, and then there's also the Inception jumbo autograph patch cards, and those land 1 per case. That's the only release we have this week. So make sure you're checking out Ryan Cracknell's articles on Beckett.com/news for more detail on these new releases. And it's, again, out there. It's fun. We had a couple of things pushed back this week, so all is well. What's brewing next week's releases? We have 2021 Upper Deck Series 2 Hockey dropping, 2021 Topps Opening Day, 2021 Topps Heritage, and 2020 Panini Encased Football. Opening Day is supposed to come out Wednesday, Heritage Friday, so it'll be interesting if they both do pop. So
yeah, Heritage is going to get pushed back, according to Brent Williams. I haven't checked in with him lately, but man, the Series 1 tins got pushed back probably into April. I don't know if they got pushed back into March. We still haven't seen some of the Heritage retail from 2020. It's just some of the stuff's getting pushed back so much, and Heritage is supposed to be probably won't drop until April.
Have you seen? They're available at Target's website on the blasters are for $20.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, it's someone, Eric, had sent us a link to order them earlier today. The blaster retails. It was Eric.
It was me.
Okay, well, he sent it to me directly then before you.
Okay. The
box art is obviously
legit,
for no other reason. I'm excited for Series 2. So.
Yeah. And by the way, I did see what happened to Jack Murphy, aka Qualcomm, down in San Diego. My sister had her she used to live like right down the street from it. They tore it down. It's so messed up that the San Diego City Council couldn't get together to keep the Chargers there. San Diego State, I think, actually bought the land. They're going to build a new stadium there, I believe, is what I heard. But And there was so much infrastructure right there for trolleys and freeways and roads and all kinds of cool stuff. If they could have gotten together, they could have kept the Chargers there, redone something. But it's sad. So, yeah. Anyway, just a little side note. Infield chatter, hobby talk section, part of the show. Topps and Trevor made a relationship here. Topps Trevor Lawrence cards are coming your way. They will feature cards. The set will feature cards of Trevor Lawrence on a mix of Topps football designs through the years, as well as some cards showcasing the incredible artwork by husband and wife artist duo Brooke and Chase Lawrence. Maybe that's his mommy and daddy. Some are pretty cool. But I mean, why not capitalize on doing Trevor Lawrence stuff when he's going to just make football things insanely priced next year? He's going to be the guy. I understand he's going to the Jaguars, but maybe his talent will transcend that franchise and their terribleness over many, many years. So we will see.
1 second here. We'll show off their fancy video work.
Oh, yeah, they did a nice little video here on Topps.com.
It's what, the 87 design?
86. And then his nickname Sunshine, like the kid from Remember the Titans? Oh, it's his brother and sister-in-law. Okay.
The cards look sharp.
They do.
We've seen. There's a big article on The Athletic about it, which, obviously has had some crossover recently with the hobby and NBA Top Shot and whatnot. But, it's an interesting release. The timing is very funny, considering Leaf dropped the pro set Trevor Lawrence, and then Topps just kind of put their Jack and the Beanstalk giant ass boot down on Leaf. Like, yeah, we're doing a 20 card set piece.
20 different artists, 20 different Trevor Lawrence. We found 20 different Trevor Lawrences living in the United States. Which one are you going to get?
$20 per letter in his name.
Yeah. Missing autograph. I thought this was funny. I spent more time than this guy did. At Dolphins fan 100 tweeted out, stared at this for 20 minutes. I still don't see the auto. Dude, I looked at it for like an hour. And I don't know if it's one of those, remember those mystical eye things? Like you'd have to unfocus your eyes.
You looked at it for an hour, dude. You need to get a hobby.
I mean, I don't, what else am I going to, I'm just sitting here hanging out. But it's a 2020 Panini Donruss Optic Joe Burrow autograph gold, Men Gem 8, near Men. And then there's no autograph, nor a space for an autograph, nor was the card ever supposed to be autographed. At least this version. It was done by PSA. So maybe some of the guys at Beckett now working at PSA.
For what it's worth,
it's a gold auto on a gold border. You just can't see it.
There are 31 people in the U.S. named Trevor Lawrence.
God. What would we do without you, Steph?
Can you look up and see how many Tim Sheplers there are real quick? Because I know I would be interested in that. I know of at least 2. So I think there's a third, but we'll see. I just like how do you there's not an where? Like huh? So does this tell me was this supposed to be on a different card? Now did they get the cards mixed up? Did somebody get I don't understand, like how does that happen? Like I understand, okay, it can be 8 people. There's only 8 Timothy Sheplers. Good to know.
This is some backwoods Topps through the years nonsense where it's not a real auto, but we're just going to call it one. We're throwing out the playbook.
Then I wonder. No, this is Optic, not Playbook. If there wasn't an auto gold that came in right after it that got the Nearman 8, and this is actually supposed to be a higher grade.
That's what I'm saying. Like, look at the card. Like, it looks really, really nice.
Sure.
So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I understand mistakes do happen. But again, like, there's legit, like, there's nobody looking at that going, oh, wait, there's not an autograph on this card yet that says autograph on it.
Nope.
Just pack it up and send it out. So, yeah, that's what $100 gets you now. Oh, dude. Okay, so this might be my new favorite segment we have. eBay folks. Like, these people, like, there are some people, like, some of the people getting into the hobby right now are comical. So this comes from SGC's finest. Don't fall for this new trick eBay sellers are trying to pull. The seller is trying to do a mystery grade sale of this Wander Franco Bowman card. Download the PSA Cert app and scan the barcode. It'll direct you to PSA's website and it will show you the grade. This one's a 7. So what they're doing is showing you a graded 2020 Bowman Chrome Wander Franco at a 125. It's an aqua refractor. Mystery grade. But they left the barcode open. So you can scan the barcode and go and see what grade the card got on PSA's app. And it says 7.
So what are you
But
buying?
it's a pop 1.
But see, you don't know the grade, so you could think it's a 10. Because you know what? You don't look at the card. You just look at whatever the grade says in the corner. Don't bother looking at the card. You just look at the corner, and you just say, yeah. So here we go. PSA is 15 million cards behind. Last week, they were receiving so many cards, it shut the post office down. That's the local
Love
post office near PSA. Thanks,
it.
Brian. Jesus.
Oh.
And here we go. So here's cards for clicks. All right. Please reply to this tweet with your best eBay buyer messages. Bonus points for posting guys that are able to grade cards on 2 pictures. This one said, go back up. It says,
Sure. So the initial one was, are these cards in mint condition? Have you picked out the best one of the lot? Second one goes, hey, if I were to grade them, I'd assume 8.5s to 9s. They came out of complete sets, so some may have minor corner damage, nothing crazy. Guy responds back, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Somehow I read that they were all mint and that they should grade 10. I guess I made the offer to wrong listing. Can you please cancel the order?
and then this one from Prince Sports, etc. And it says for F's sake, which I thought was great. This one message comes up. Oh, this is awesome. Hello, I received the cards today, and upon inspection, the cards appear to be in very good condition, except for there are 2 scratches on the lower front right corner of the card. They may have been hard for you to notice. Picture attached. My intention was to have the card graded, but the scratches will not allow it to grade much more than a 7, maybe 8. The scratches were not reflected in the pictures posted. Otherwise, I would not have purchased the card. I'd like to return the card. For your trouble, I'd like to purchase the Sam Darnold 2018 Panini Honors Rookie Auto out of 10 that you have for sale. That one is sealed and should be in excellent condition. Please confirm that you will refund my purchase price on the rookie ticket, and I'll mail it back to you. Thanks and be well, Joe.
Okay. One, I love the balls on this guy to say, no, I don't want that one, but I'll do you a favor for returning my thing and buy something else. No. Okay, fine. Accept the return and then block this guy. Move on.
Yeah. So here we go. Here's another great one. This is from the Rule 8618. This is on a $9, let me repeat, $9 card that is with free shipping via eBay shipping. Only if it's ungraded mint. I simply need a nice, clear up close of each corner area of both sides of the card laying flat on contrasting surface, and if she's mint, then it's sold.
So I love that the person only has 27 reviews. You want to be surprised. You would be surprised the amount of times that we get a response similar to this of, we only want it unless it's the number one perfect example of what you have. And our response is, we put in the stating that modern cards have a grade of 8.5 or better. We can't guarantee it, and we're not going to take the time out to look for a $5 card to say, look, take your gamble. If you don't like it, send it back. We'll refund.
This shit makes me want to vomit. Like, if you can't tell if the card is going to grade us, then don't buy it and move on. If you think it is, take your chances and buy it. You don't even know, because when you send it in, who knows what the hell the guy's, the grader's going to think that day. And it's so arbitrary. If you want a 10, just buy the 10. You're trying to buy it to make money to flip it, but you're going to pay $100 of the card grade. Like, it's dumb. I don't. Right at this point, I can't understand why you're trying to grade something that isn't like a seriously $1,000 or more card. Because what does it matter? because the cost involved is ridiculous.
Make cards raw again.
There was a great line in the American Dream movie about Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 back in the early 90s when Joe Jackson's going around looking for the 5-year-old Michael because they need to rehearse. And he goes, "Where were you at?" He goes, "I was at the candy store." He goes, "Man, you spending all your money?" He goes, "How much did you spend on that?" He goes, "A nickel." And he goes, "But I'm going to sell him." He goes, "How much are you going to sell him for?" He goes, "A nickel." He goes, "Boy, you better stick to singing." And it seems like that's what's going on right now with grading, where you get a card valued at X, and then you have to spend Y. So let's say it's a $50 card. You got to spend $100, and the card's valuation is like $150 to $175. In a lot of cases, you're grading cards that should never be graded to begin with, or don't have a lot of appreciation left, a lot of meat on the bone, so to speak. You're spending a nickel to make a nickel, and it's just like, grading should be for the upper echelon of cards, whether they're vintage or modern is irrelevant. It's got to add, 3x to make it worth your while, because you're literally sending a card out to somebody else for an arbitrary grade and to slab it when you could put it in a top loader. Just chill, man. I mean, if you're not going to, if your $150 isn't going to jump to $450, $500 and beyond, what are you doing? You're spinning your wheels.
I think it also, we're shutting down the post office near PSA. I mean, it's done. Hey, by the way, real quick, foul 5. You don't want time off like me right now. Trust me.
So I got one for you. It just popped up in my thread. Share.
I just like it doesn't, guys. Like I don't like to harp on people's collecting skills. These guys aren't collecting, and I understand they're trying to make some money. It's just
spotted at a local card shop.
Oh, and by the way, really quick, those are not good shelves for storing cards.
My LCS, $15 for a box of cereal.
It's got an expiration date, man. That's still going to be there well beyond the 18-month expiration date it's got listed.
I mean, somewhere at the house, I do have a box of Wheaties from '87 that's full and unopened.
But see, it's Wheaties. There's probably somebody on the front of it that meant something to you. Like, it's different if it's like, or remember Fruity Flakes, like all those things. It's like, okay, hey, like I was a big Doug Flutie fan at the time, so I bought some, so I put it up, and it means something. But when it's small corner, because there's 3 cards in it, and let me tell you, like 2 of the cards, most of those cards aren't. I don't.
And one follow-up point before we move on, when we're talking about graded cards, if you're going to grade a card for your personal collection, I know our buddy Eric, those back pages, collects high-end rookie cards, right? Steph, isn't it 9s and 10s is what he's after?
9s, usually.
So,
Sell 10s, buy 9s.
So for a dude like Eric, that's what
always
he
learning.
collects. So if he buys a card at $50 and he spends $100 to get it graded, so he's all in at $150. But it's going to sit in his personal collection from now until the end of time when he dies. Hey, that's fantastic, right? I'm saying like 50 years from now. But when you're spending $150 to get a card that's now valued on the secondary market at $200, but you've got to wait 9 months, a year to get this card back, just think about what you could do with that time, that money during that time to make more money. You're not making enough money off of it, being the point, to warrant the upfront cost that you have to sit on that cost. And then when you factor in inflation, I mean, you could do so much more with that $150. If it's for your PC, by all means, do what you got to do. Make your PC better. Wait for it, because then the associated value doesn't matter as much because it's your PC.
Yeah, this all ties into the next retail shenanigans. So Falcony X85. So come to find out, my Walmart is no longer carrying sports cards because of people stalking the vendor. Literally, no way to get cards or supplies now.
Well, and that's it too. We definitely had people in chat or in our replies mention that we'd love to have a local card store, or we had one but it closed. He lives out in very, very rural West Virginia. That there's not a card shop around unless he's going to a different state, damn near. And that sucks.
I know. That's the sad state. Like we've heard so many stalking things and stuff like that. Here's chasing the graph. For the last 4 or 5 days, the shelf has been filling up with random stuff. My guess is people are using it, using items and markers to see if there was a restock and they missed it. So it was like a Target setup, and people are just they're putting like random items on there just to see if they're getting cleaned up or moved. To see if someone restocked it, and it hasn't been. I get it.
It's interesting. I don't want to say conspiracy theory, but it's an interesting, astute observation.
And there was a video I got sent today from our buddy Cardboard Icons.
Share
dude
it.
Fighting outside of a Target while waiting for cards. He said the part of the video missed the small guy spat on the larger guy, which actually led to the fight. Crazy times in the hobby. Let me pull it up here. Give me a sec. We're to the point now where we're fighting in line to get cards.
I saw a funny one on Facebook. On Facebook today, the guy says, he goes, "What should I do?"
Oh, sorry. Here we go.
Yes, right, little bitch ass.
Whoa.
We don't condone any of the language in this video.
He's in mount, bro. He's in mount.
See, I don't know what mount
full
is.
Mount.
He's full mounting the man, and now this big dude looks like looks like I can't remember the rapper's name, but this guy's just beating the tar, and his buddy comes over to save him, and it's not happening. And this little security guy walks over from Target who's like, I'm just going to stand here and say, please don't beat him up. I appreciate you didn't beat him up. So,
on Facebook, I think it was yesterday, dude posted, he goes, I spend hours each day stalking the guy at Target and Walmart. He goes, what should I do to pass the time? And my thought was, get a job, apply for a job there, man. Because if they're going to limit you to 2 blasters and you're going to make $40 and you're going to spend 8 hours at the Target anyway, you might as well stock some shelves and check out some customers. And then you also qualify for benefits and,
discount.
PO, and you maybe get a discount. It's like,
I believe the Target discount's like 5 or 10%. I used to work there for a sec. I mean,
it's been compared to, like the Cabbage Patch Kids or the Tickle Me Elbow or whatnots, but it's like a Black Friday every week. And no, that's not my burner account.
Yeah, it is. And no, and so I was going back and forth with Ben and Cardboard Icons, the best Ben, and we were just talking. He said that there was a guy that posted a message that said that they were people in line outside the Target like at 2 a.m. to get cards, right? 2 a.m. Like the Target doesn't open until 8, and they're there at 2 a.m. And this guy's like, he's like said he was a collector, right? In a statement or his post, and he's like, it's the only way I can get affordable product. And like, think about that. If you're like legitimately though, if you're collecting, right, and that's the only, I mean, it's truly not the only way because you could buy the singles, but if you want to buy packs, like, think about it, we're in this really sad state where it's awesome, the hobby's hot, and people are looking to collect and want to buy cards and sell cards. It's awesome, so many more eyeballs on it. But when the actual collectors can't even get stuff too, like that, because people are just going in to buy and sell, like, I don't know, I feel bad. Like, we're in this really just tough spot, I believe, right? And I mean, I don't even look anymore. Like, I'd love to open some stuff, but I'm not paying the prices for some of these boxes. Like, I thought about buying a box of Donruss, but not at $150.
I've got a photo here from the local Meijer that it goes to your point. Open it, and this was something that we saw just down the road here. when we stopped in, because it's harder to find some of the regional store parallels and whatnot. And if we're here, due to high demand, popular trading cards will be sold from the electronic desk on Friday at 3 p.m. No returns.
I mean, at least they're doing it sometime. They know, like, hey, we can have the staff to handle it.
And that's what
it's
we
gonna
left
be.
with were the Kaldheim Magic Packs boxes.
I don't know. Then here we go. So these are categories. These we could have every week. Investors. So at King's Cards, the card show was. I think he's talking about the Dallas card show that was here this last weekend. The card show was kind of a bust for me. I had a guy that was offering me more than I was asking for my Chapman Superfractor Auto. Turn around and only wanted to trade and not pay cash. To make matters worse, I passed on negotiating with the guy that had first dibs because of him. With that deal a bust, people literally walking around with stacks of cash, vendors buying cards. I figured I would find another buyer. But half the investors didn't know who Matt Chapman was, and the other were confused. There were no comps on the Superfractor. So frustrating, and really highlights my beef with the influx of investors. Most of them know high-name slabs and comps, but not all the players or really cards in general. Anyway, I guess I'm just a dinosaur who doesn't get it.
And Adrian's a good dude. He does live in the Allen area, so this definitely was about the DCS card show. Yeah, that stinks. And really, it's a critique on the show in general, because last time we went, it was mostly slabs, unopened retail product, and like 3 or 4 other guys with actual boxes of cards that you would expect at a show.
Yeah.
Glad I didn't fly to Dallas then.
Now, to be fair, Rich did say that he made the most out of any show that he's done in a while this past weekend. Even after leaving on Sunday and needing someone to finish off his show. Or Saturday? Whatever day Rich left. So there's still money to be had, but yeah, it stinks.
Yeah,
and to Chat's point, that a lot of these guys, Brian Bertrand, mentioning that a lot of these guys came from the sneaker world, where they're ruthless and aggressive, and it's true. I mean, we're seeing it with the bot community, we're seeing it with everything else. They know that they need the PSA. They know that they need here's the top 3 guys. But they don't know, the minor stars.
Yeah, and see what I'm telling you is, like, there's going to be
stars.
If you zig while everybody else is zagging, there's going to be great opportunities for a lot of people to cash in, because everybody right now is like in baseball, right? Like, it's not even so much Acuna anymore; it's Soto, right? Everybody's forgetting about Gleyber Torres, right? Everybody thinks, oh, I need Mike Trout, I need Tatis. They're forgetting about Eloy Jimenez. Or even Pete Alonso or Vlad Guerrero Jr. We're talking about some younger players. Matt Chapman being one. There's a lot of these players that are going to slide and people are going to forget. Like, everybody all of a sudden is buying Ohtani cards. You couldn't give his cards away last year. Like, legitimately, people were not, like, there weren't people buying them or paying what they're paying for him now. He goes out and he hits 2 home runs the other night, and now people are going crazy to buy his stuff. And it's like...
We made a trip from Dayton through Cincy to meet some friends in the middle of nowhere. Town has maybe 12,000 people between Indy and Cincinnati, and this was their shelves.
That's crazy.
Not a single product.
So, like, right, like, it's like the guy dead, like, he farts the national anthem, and it's like, oh, his card's worth 10x now. And then tomorrow we forgot about him because some other guy did the armpit national anthem. And I don't know, it's just, we're hopping from one lily pad to the next, and we just have all these lemmings just following, like, yeah, all right, there we go, that's what we need to do. Yeah. And then Bobby Witt, good Lord, I mean, his prices were already pretty good, and then he starts playing, hitting a couple home runs, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, I need to spend all his money and get Bobby Witt stuff. And I'm like, I holy heck that he's the real deal, because I'd love to see another star in Kansas City, the awesome. But at the same point in time, it's like the dude didn't play any minor league games last year. He's a youngster. Like he's.
It's a shame.
It is, and Matt brought up in the YouTube chat, is online community overcompensating for the lack of retail, and we saw this during the early stages of the pandemic where people were buying at inflated prices out of fear that something's going to dry up. It was what they could get their hands on. People were talking about price gouging and, without getting into retail buybacks and stuff like that, Tim, I'm sure you're familiar with how that works as well. And, if you're not getting a discount to get it into your store, you can't pass along those savings, which makes it look on the surface like price gouging. But in the hobby, we're seeing that, right? Everybody knows that there's an eager market that's just dying to spend money. And, I saw it this week when I was looking to get a McGuire parallel from Donruss, and guy on Facebook, DMs me and he's like, how about $20? I was literally expecting $8 shipped in a PWE. That was the range of what this card is worth. He's like, how about $20? And I'm like, dude, you're a little high. I'm going to have to pass. And I said, you're looking at about an $8 card. And he's like, well, dude, I'm open to offers. And I'm just like, dude, I just told you it was worth $8. And that would be the offer. So if you're willing to accept that, but the thing is, again, if you're paying $150 for a box and you get a serial numbered card, you got to get as much money out of that in order to try to get your rate of return at your break-even point. And right now, how many times have we talked about Chronicles and all these other products that have no business selling at the prices that they're selling for, and people are taking a bath. And the only way to get your money back is to over ask on the secondary, and smart collectors are going to pass, and a lot of these people are going to lose their backside. This stuff will be around. Make your checklist of what you want, what you quote unquote need, and wait for a rainy day, because a lot of these prices are going to come down.
Like, say, 51 of a certain rando that people collected back in the day. All signed in a stack.
Yeah. You say like that, huh? No, so he's mentioning is, I don't remember the guy's name now, but I'm going through my buddy's cards that he gave me to sell, and there was 49 or 51, I don't remember, autographs of this Minnesota Twins prospect. And his name, he was a name prospect at one point. He was a first-round pick. And so I just sent Steph a video as I'm counting off the cards, right? And I was like, Steph, do you need one? My thing is, so I watched a video today, and a guy was opening a jumbo box of 2018 Topps Update, which legitimately, you have Soto, you have Acuna, you have Torres. There's so many good young players in that update set. Plus a bunch of, you have the all-star cards and that kind of stuff. And, going through it and doesn't care about anything unless he gets the Soto card. And then it's like, oh, this is not a 10. So basically, the video was like, basically, I just open a box of trash. And I'm just like that. That's where the people that have the money, that's what they're, just buy it then. Buy the 10. If you have money to burn and just toss the cards aside, then go buy the 10, stupid. Why are you trying to pull it? I was trying to get a couple Sotos out of there. Well, it's a jumbo box. If you talk to anybody, you're going to get one complete set, most likely, out of there, and maybe you'll be able to get double up on a rookie or two. And it drives me bonkers. And I watched the full video, but I had to stop a couple times because I was getting so angry inside. And it's like, I know there was somebody else that would way more enjoy to open that box than you, and you're the person that ended up with it. And you don't give two shits about it because you didn't get the perfect example of a card you wanted, then you could have bought on the secondary market. But yet you drove the price up because you wanted that stupid card out of there.
Well, we've talked about this on the show before. If your whole thing is prospecting and speculating to cash out on the arbitrage side of things, we were just mentioning it just a little bit ago on this episode. Look where other people aren't looking. There are a lot of deals to be had. if you're looking on the high end, right now is not the time to buy a guy named Juan Soto. You know, there might be some more money on the bone on some of his cards, but you're paying such a high price at the the IPO version of it, right? I got to pay $50 to acquire this card, and it might jump to $70, which $20 profit on that card is great. But if I've got to I got to dole out $50 today. I can go get a bunch of lower end stuff, of other players that might have a lot more room left to grow, and collect multiples of it, right? And diversify that portfolio, so to speak, for those people that are looking to speculate.
Right here. That's what all these boxes of rookies are, is because I would buy cheap rookies and buy a ton of them. I have these are the 3,200 count boxes. I have one full middle row that's all Ohtani rookies because I was buying them for $1 a piece.
Worst case scenario, dude has an average career due to injuries, and you're out $1 a piece times how many ever you have.
Yeah, or I turn right now. They're going like crazy. So I think I'm dumping them all this week. Like I legitimately go through, keep two, and then sell everything else.
And when we were talking about the churning group a couple of weeks ago and what their footprint in the hobby is going to be, that's not what they're touching, right? They're only touching the high end stuff to be able to cash out quickly within the next 12 to 18 months. In your case, it's a perfect example of being able to buy a lot of this stuff that is undervalued in the market right now. Look, the old magician, we've said this before. Look over here when everybody else is looking over here, because this is where the true magic is happening. Worst case scenario, you're out a few bucks.
Hey, are we? Oh, by the way, remember guys named like Steven Strasburg and Bryce Harper that we used to
Justin Verlander.
That we used to collect. Yeah, Verlander. We used to collect like crazy. They've had pretty decent careers, but yeah,
Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, they're just afterthoughts now.
Joe Mauer.
I went. So I was at the LCS this week, and actually it was last week, and they have. I think I've showed this a couple weeks ago. I have one of these, right? I bought it for like $1, and they're selling from $15, and they're selling them. And they had tops traded sets from a few different years that used to be $5 all day long there, or even free. If you bought some stuff, Greg would toss you one. Selling for $25 to $30. I'm talking 89 tops traded because the Griffey's in there.
1991 Upper Deck. I bought so many boxes of that for $5.
Yeah. Ben and I opened one together, remember? At Teammates in Modesto, we sat there and we opened a box together. And now they're like $100 and something.
A shop we stopped at had packs for $5.
It was
1991.
Yeah, and the only
also it was Joe Benson.
The only reason that
you know how long I had to scroll to find that.
The only reason we opened that box that day, Tim, was because we were sitting there. We were 45 minutes away from my home, so hour 15 away from your home. And it's like, we were sitting there. My dad was there, Brian Bice was there. And it's like, hey, let's open up something. We're bored. This is what you're supposed to do at an LCS. And
that was the time you actually brought your wallet, wasn't it?
Yeah. Because the other time it was just me and you together. Yeah.
No, but so it's like, if you can get it, awesome. But why are you buying it? It was $5. Anyway, so this kind of ties into this. Jaded. So Ken tweets out, Bean, I know this will be unpopular, but I give 0 Fs if you don't like it. All these pictures from the Dallas card show where people find it cool to show stacks of money next to cards is everything that's wrong with this hobby right now. This is why I'm jaded with the hobby. And I agree. Like if you went on Insta and you went Dallas card show and you looked at it, just people here's like stacks and stacks and stacks of hundreds and just random card like Tom Brady cards and I get the Brady or a Jordan card, right? But it's just all.
Well, so it was kind of a smorgasbord on top of it because not only was there that, but there was also a major 2 or 3 day national Pokemon exhibit going on not too far away. And, Yeah, definitely. I agree with Ken 100%. I mean, these pictures. One, okay, that's a cool signature, but Babe Ruth vintage era baseball. But I mean, these photos look like they're in like a '90s rap video. Like, where's the bouncing car and the money being tossed around? The bottles of champagne.
Yeah, I yeah. I wish we could have a card show here because, good lord, I've been sitting on stuff for a year. We haven't had one in over a year.
We are
And I've
supposed to be. Dion said he's going to have one that the Vallejo, the convention center on the fairgrounds,
yeah.
is right now
Okay.
being used as a vaccination site. So they pushed him out for March, but he's hoping that in April. There was a few people that were asking about it. You know, when's the next NorCal show? And he's hoping for April. So we'll keep you updated if you're local to our area or local enough to where you can do a day trip. Wouldn't be bad to maybe get a table to split and have some fun if anybody's in the Bay Area. You know, it's in Vallejo, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll happen next month.
Yeah. Here's an interesting topic. This is a really good thread this week. Collecting regrets. Cardboard Icons tweets out one regret I have from my early collecting days. I often let the idea of value get in the way of buying what I liked. I was always looking for safe players or quote investments. I did it right in buying rookies and vintage, but lots of other stuff I enjoyed that I should have experienced. Night Owl Card tweets out one of the best benefits of collecting before the 80s started. How much a card was worth was rarely thought of. And it comes back to like the true, like, why are you doing this? Why are you spending your time, your effort, your money in this if you're not enjoying it and all it is about the money at the end of the day? You know, like, it's nice when your stuff that you buy has some kind of monetary value to other people. But at the end of the day, it's like I like collecting my Royals base set cards because I like to look at them and look back at all the awful teams they had and go, God, how do they even think this was going to be a good team? You know, or the Giants and being like, oh, dude, like, oh, look at Vida Blue was a Giant for all these years. And, you know, or hey, look, there was Joe Morgan when he was a Giant in 82. And just like the heart of collecting and enjoying it. Yeah, it's cool when stuff's worth money and you can flash your slabs and your stacks of cash and okay, that's neat. But like, I don't know, man. I feel it. Like I haven't bought a lot lately because I'm looking for only a few specific cards at this point in time because it's like everything's so priced so crazy. Like I know it's not worth that at this point or me to chase it down. And you know, I feel bad for people that, you know, that are getting really shut out of the hobby at this point in time because they're not running a bot. They're not, and you know, with, you know, a ton of bankroll behind them to go out to collect and do things that others are doing now. And you start seeing people like all of a sudden they're like showing off these, and you're like, man, I should, like, oh man, like you're getting influenced. It's like, I need that. And you got the FOMO thing going on. And it's like, you know, you got to take a time out and step back and really analyze what you're collecting and set some proper goals for yourself. And don't collect outside of your means. Don't collect because somebody else. I'm not going to go collect ace cards because Ben collects ace cards, right?
Well,
He's not
going to. Nobody should.
No, I know. But like, you know what I'm saying? We're like, I get influenced by others, but certain things about how they collect or how they go about it. Ben Aguirre got me going like on like rookie card, like really looking at base rookie. When everybody's chasing autographs and prospect autos, like I was like, no, you know what? It's something I can't afford a lot of, nor do I care about the autographs. I like a base rookie card. I'm a big base. That's what I'm going to chase down. And I've said that for a long time. And now that's where everybody is. And it's like, oh, welcome to the party. I've been here a long time. You know?
Well, and I've been asked, we've mentioned this on the show before, you know, how do you break down your PC? And, you know, the first rule of PC is, you know, cost and space. You know, number two is living within your own budgetary means, and you alone can determine what that is. And then number three and number four are basically the same question, just from a different perspective. And I ask myself this all the time: is my PC better with this? And then the fourth question would be: is my PC incomplete without this. And that's how personally I'm able to kind of get away from some of that FOMO feeling of like the Sports Illustrated online set that just dropped yesterday.
Mhm.
You know, they're really neat. And yeah, I'll grab any of the A's that might be featured on the set. But as neat as they are, I don't think my PC is incomplete without them. And I don't think my PC is any more complete with them. And, you know, whether I think right now a lot of budgeted collectors kind of need to reassess what their PC is and what they want it to look like 5 years from now, because now's a really good time to go back and grab some of the older stuff people might not be looking at. It really decide, do I need that autograph? Do I need 17 autographs of Sean Murphy? You know, is my PC better with 17? Do I need them all? Because 4 years ago, I could probably buy the majority of them because the cost was so much less. My paycheck hasn't gone up in line linear to the increases in the hobby. You know, when we're seeing 4, 5, 6, 7x, 800% over what it was just 3 years ago, my paycheck hasn't risen that much. Yeah, you know, and all of my other associated costs in life, like gas and whatnot, taxes have.
Yeah.
So as that continues to grow, we all have to look at, unless you want to do something to supplement your income outside of the hobby, a side hustle, so to speak, or an additional job, you know, odds are you're probably not going to be able to. A lot of people are successful at flipping cards and making money, but for every one person that is, you're going to get 10 people that aren't, or just can't make it work on a consistent basis, a sustainable basis. So
Yeah,
be true to your PC, and what, you know, like Tim said, don't collect A's cards, because I do, but that doesn't mean Tim can't go out and buy the Raleigh Fingers Project 70 that dropped yesterday if he thinks it's a good looking card, or the Satchel Paige that came out, because it's also a Kansas City card, so it kind of has a connection to his PC, despite you know not being a Royal.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, like I feel frustrated right now, and I don't have the words. I just want people to like I said, we're not going to judge you anyway, whatever way, however you're collecting, however you're involved in this. We just want to give you insightful information and to tell you that there's people out there that if you're struggling or you're frustrated, you're jaded, that we're there with you and we understand. Like, and guess what? Hold on, because this is not going to last forever, and it's going to be insane coming up because everybody's getting their STEMI money again, right? So you're going to have people looking to blow their money. Like, the best thing is I saw a video of this dude that sent out, and he's like, I just want to show you what's going on in my local Walmart, and this is why poor people will always be poor. And he's cruising around the parking lot of Walmart, and he makes a loop, and he comes back, and he goes, now these people must have gotten their stimulus money because they bought a 70-inch television, they got speakers, they had all this stuff from Walmart, right? They showed up in a Toyota Corolla. The 70-inch, they didn't even think about, okay, so we're buying all this large stuff, these large boxes of items. Yeah, we didn't think about the vehicle we brought with us and how we were going to get them home. Like they just said, oh, we're going to buy it and then figure it out.
And I mean, the amount of times that we've gone to IKEA with our small hatchback and then realized, fuck, that's going between the seats.
Yeah.
With one of us holding it so it doesn't rattle against the two of us.
But, you know, it's like, you know, awesome. You're going to get some cool stuff for your house. You're going to upgrade, you know, whatever. But and that's what the money's there to do. It's there to either help you or it's there to stimulate, you know, to get the economy going, right? It's there to help out. But use it the right way. We got the money and we've tucked it away. We're doing a remodel in the house, and that's going to be like, hey, that's our contingency fund now, because we already had the money to do the stuff we wanted to do. But now it's like, okay, hey, if we open something up and there's like, you know, crazy stuff that's happening behind the walls we can't see, we're good. You know, you always watch those. This is going to cost this, you know, it's going to be additional $1,400. You have to lose this. And it's like, oh, well, we'll be okay. I you know, and so I laughed. I'm just like, Anyway,
This isn't ours per se, but it's the same make model. Tiny
By the way-
little black sedan hatchback.
by the way, it fit enough collectors and Steph's whole collection in the back of it when we were in Chicago.
Yeah.
Future of collecting. Vasu tweets out, "This is what the future of collecting looks like at NBA Top Shot times infinite objects." I'm gonna let Steph share the video that
Sure.
tweeted out, and it's a LeBron James Top Shot video, but it's like framed up and like a screen of some kind. Looks like an iPad type thing.
Yep. Kind of like those old, hey, get your grandma this photo frame and it'll flip through the photos every 30 seconds.
Yeah. So look how big that thing is, right? How expensive is that to put the, and it's thicker. It look okay. The first down, it looks like an old 80s screw down because it's about
yeah, it
4
really
inches
does.
thick.
Like
it has
4-inch thick lucite.
Yeah. And it's a video of LeBron James doing something. You can go to YouTube and see.
This is not the future of collecting. You don't own this. The property is still owned by the NBA in this case. They still own the property. Even if they give it to you, it's still owned by them. You can't reproduce it. You can't do anything without permission. I'm sorry. When you buy something in one of these apps like Top Shot and it's exclusive in their app, they still own it. They're just letting you think you own it for an X amount of price. That's why these Topps Bunts and these Star Wars trading cards, Walking Dead stuff, hey, they're cool and they're neat. And if that's how you want to spend your time and your money, great. But you don't own them. As soon as that app gets unsupported, your collection goes away.
Yep.
Gone into the again. Gone. Just
Because if they shut down that, they don't make the money because they said they've cleared. I read an article they cleared $396 million, but yet the people can't get like about $1,000 out a week.
Yeah, you can't get your money. That's because all of your money, quote unquote, your end quotes money, is all sitting with everybody else's money in their bank account while they're
Making
getting
them
daily
money.
interest, and then they're going to siphon off. Hey, Tim, you want a $20 bill? You can have it, but wait a minute, you owe me $2,000. Hey, listen,
Be happy with what we give you.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you. I saw it the other day. Somebody's like, the Cowboys fans are frustrated because they haven't done anything in free agent. It's like, listen, you got Dak Prescott. You overpaid that fool. That's what you get. That's your main course. You don't get any side dishes.
Dude,
You don't get anything else.
real quick, I want to talk about Dak Prescott and some of the quarterback stuff here in a second, but Sports Business Joel tweeted out the breaking news: the NFL execs have been in active discussions with potential partners to develop a digital collectibles and NFT strategy, and teams have been told not to make deals on their own without checking with the league. And this was by Ben Fisher, SBJ. And it's probably because Jerry Jones, remember the big deal he had with Apex back in the day? He was always doing his own thing. This is Jerry. Can't do that. Check out I'll have Steph drop the link in there. It's a good article, and I think that's the article that had the amount of money the NBA Top Shot's done. Anyway.
So I know that we've talked about this before, but this is where, mind you, not any of us, just a picture I pulled. But that's what that lucite case reminds me of. The people that would use a reverse mirror to show essentially a computer monitor. I would love to see this done with card photos. But I still own those photos. What's in those photos?
Yeah, and it's your kids, it's your mom, it's your it's your dog, it's your
Pictures of us at the National.
Yeah, it's a sunset that you captured when you were going on a vacation. It's your memories.
But by the way,
I know that Matt Major, once a Cub, had said that he had taken shots of scans of his cards, so that he saw his actual card, and then that one goes away in 10 seconds, and another one pops up, so on and so forth. But they're not just images of an '89 Canseco and an '89 McGuire. They're his images of the cards in his PC. And that's a really neat way to want to kind of display your PC in digital form where you're not flipping through binders all the times. But again, they're not JPEGs that he pulled off the internet, because we all could do that.
So
I have a set preview if you want to see that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Share screen.
By the way, while we were in the conversation here, I went online to my buddy this guy I've been buying the Topps Living from lately, and I bought the Mike Trout Sports Illustrated card because it looked pretty cool. So
They do look sharp. They're nice looking, and while we're
get it for $5. It was half off the Topps website, so I was like, why not? I'll buy one.
Yeah.
2021 Topps Allen and Ginter, Fergie Jenkins, signed. Ooh. Posted by. Ooh, that's super blown up. The man
Fergie
himself.
Jenkins. Yeah, the good old Canadian Fergie Jenkins.
Indeed.
By the way, I'm going to talk about Dak, man. The Cowboys, like, Dak's an average NFL quarterback. And the fact that they had to pay him that much money to be their quarterback.
You know, it would be a shame if a team overpaid on a quarterback.
Yeah. But, yeah.
And triple and quadruple downs. It's like every year in the offseason, they're just like, hey, Kirk, another 3 years. They call him up and they're like, hey, you want 3 or 4 more guaranteed years on this.
And, like, the Bears signed Andy Dalton today. And I'm telling you, last year, if Andy Dalton had the time and started as the Cowboys start, they would have had a better season than they had with Dak. Yeah, this was
Chicago
cool.
Bears QB.
Russ Wilson?
L-O-N. I'd like to solve the puzzle. Russ Wilson?
Andy Dalton.
Russ Wilson is what you ordered on the internet, and Andy Dalton is what you got when you ordered it from Wish.
But at the same time, real quick, is getting Russ Wilson or Deshaun Watson the price to acquire those guys right now? Is it worth it to your franchise? Like, okay, so Matt Stafford, if you take out the Jared Goff part of the deal, right? Because of all the number one picks that went back and forth, he was still pretty expensive to acquire. The Colts stole Carson Wentz from the Dum Dum Eagles, which I'm great with. Like, hey, that's awesome. They totally took advantage of those guys. But you look at some of these guys moving around, it's going to cost you, what, 2, 3, 4 first-round picks plus other things to get one of these guys. So you do that, but then you harm your franchise. So you can't add around them. And then you also spend it giving them so much money a year, you can't afford to sign any free agents. So how are you going to get any better? You know, cool, we got the big-name quarterback, but guess what? He does nothing for us. Because we can't put any talent around him.
Great article on The Athletic sometime last year saying what happened if, and they use the Rams as an example, instead of paying Jared Goff a monster contract, if they just let him go after year 4, trade him going into year 5, you pick up his option and trade him, and then draft a new quarterback. Because you're on the rookie scale contract with this guy for 4 years. And every 4 years, you reset that position with as close to an average quarterback as you could get. But you give that guy an elite offensive line, an elite defensive line, and an elite secondary. And then just league average running backs, you know, maybe a wide receiver, high end target.
So you're saying like a worse Tom Brady?
Yeah, so just, a game manager that can just kind of go out there. He's a rookie, and maybe he becomes a superstar, right? Because you're going to hit on some of these guys, but you basically...
You do what they're doing with running backs.
Yeah, kind of, right? Where they're interchangeable, but you keep that guy. Like, look at the 49ers, right? They just gave a ton of money to Kyle Juszczyk and Trent Williams. That was a ridiculous contract. They've got Nick Bosa coming up. They've got to re-sign one of their other defensive linemen. I forget which, Eric Armstead, I think it is. You've got all these guys that are coming up for high-end contract extensions. Let's say that the cap jumps 30, 35 million next year. You're still going to have to pay. I mean, that's just enough to kind of start to fit Nick Bosa's contract in. That's it. And so it's like the Niners are really looking at if they could keep a moderate rookie contract for 4 years, or you play this game of, let's go get a Ryan Fitzpatrick, a Tyrod Taylor, a guy that isn't going to cost a ton, is not great, but could be Trent Dilfer if we had an elite defense and an elite offensive line built around him.
Yeah.
That's all we need.
Yeah, and so and look what they've done with running backs. They figured out, use them for 4 or 5 years, use them up, let them go, Look at Le'Veon Bell. Like he sat out that year and went to the Jets. He was trash. He went to the Chiefs and was an afterthought behind Williams and Edwards-Helaire. Like he was just and so to me it's laughable. Like if the Cowboys were smart, they would have given Dak less money in this big deal like 2 years ago, and they wouldn't have waited around, but they did, and here we are. And I'm so glad I'm not a Cowboys fan. I think that like the Bears realize Trubisky's not it. We lost that, but also guess what? The Niners made that trade, and Solomon Thomas is gone now too because he was a terrible pick as well. So it's like, okay, we just move on. We get Dalton and Nick Foles, and we futz around with these guys for a couple years and go try to figure it out somewhere else. I just it's like buying slabs, right? That's how I feel some of these quarterbacks are. There's some really, really, really good ones, but there's only a couple of those guys, and then there's all these also rans, and it's like I don't know. Guys, let's get into the question of the week. 9-pocket page 90s team. 9-pocket page catcher, first, second, short, third, left, center, right, and starting pitcher. And those guys had to play that position for most of the time. And the reason we're limiting it to just not outfield is because I really wanted to like crunch it down and be like, you couldn't have 3 center fielders. But all right, Ben, who's your starting lineup there, bud?
Hold on, talk slower because I'm trying to scroll to find my list.
Oh, okay.
I can go first.
All right, go ahead,
yeah,
Steph.
if you want to go first,
Sure.
Jack, yeah.
So catcher Irod, a great long time. He's extended into the 2000s. Not nearly as impressive statistically as Mike Piazza, but kind of a great mix of the two.
Yeah, great defender too. Like awesome behind the plate.
First base, went with Jim Tomei. You're going to start to see a trend here once I start rating off a few names. But no, one of the great humanitarian, great personality, by all means, a clubhouse, not a clubhouse cancer. And I just loved watching him mash when he wasn't playing against us, especially in 2008. Second base went Robbie Alomar. Outside of the spitting incident, pretty great career. Shortstop went with Omar Vizquel. Great flashy leather Hall of Famer.
Well, if Alan Trammell's in, he's in, obviously.
Easily up there. Third base, I wanted to go with someone that actually played third base, but also that these two guys didn't pick, and it's a bit off the beaten path. But Robin Ventura. I think when I went back to my WAR spreadsheet by decade, he was amongst the top and kind of underrated.
Yeah, I liked Ventura as a pick. That was a good pick.
Left and center were kind of locks for all of us. Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. And in right field, I kind of struggled because I wanted to say Kirby Puckett, but he started the decade in the center field, and I can't not go Griffey there. And he really only played 3 or 4 years before his injury in right. So you saw that, huh? And I wanted to put a couple other deserving guys like Juan Gonzalez or other people, but I went with Larry Walker. Great Canadian. It's one of the reasons that Justin Morneau went with number 33. Coors effect, sure, but nah. And then as my starting pitcher, I really wanted to go Randy Johnson, but again, trying to break it up and be different. I went with Roger Clemens. And at DH, I went with Edgar Martinez.
We're not doing
Ben, who's on your team?
I went with Rodriguez over Piazza as well at catcher. First base, I went with McGuire over Thomas and the third baseman, Jeff Bagwell. McGuire obviously had a lot of impact in the 90s on a multitude of levels, whether you want to talk steroids or saving the game in 98. He was injured the first part of the decade, of course, but hell, it's a homer pick. Biggio is my second baseman. A-Rod at short. I went with Jones over Ventura, mostly because of all the success the Braves had as a team, and Jones obviously played a huge role in that. through the mid 90s. I think Bonds was a no-brainer in left. Griffey's a no-brainer in center field. Walker in right field, and it really doesn't matter that he's a great Canadian. He was just a good ball player and a Hall of Famer. I don't know why him being Canadian has anything to do with this, eh?
Steph's a Canadian deep inside.
I'm a quarter Canadian.
And I'm 2/15 Indian from my mom's grandma. And then I went with
My grandma that's in the other room is Canadian.
and then I went with Greg Maddux on the mound. Randy Johnson or Roger Clemens, I think you can't go wrong with those. And again, if it's your 9-pocket page, put who you enjoyed the most. But Greg Maddux was such a great. In fact, the other day I was watching it where he pranked Chris Bryant from a couple of years ago when he was the cameraman. I don't know if you guys have seen that video, but got to YouTube it because that is absolutely hysterical. When Chris Bryant's starting to get frustrated why this Mike guy is throwing him the curveball, and he's just like, "Why can't I hit this dude?"
Yeah.
And at the end, he realizes that it's Maddux, and he's like, "Oh, okay." But for a while there, you see him start to grit his teeth. He's getting a little.
Oh yeah, because he steps in the box like it's not a ringer, and then the first ball just whizzes right past him.
Because he starts talking, he's like, "Yeah, I don't want you to hurt yourself. Nah, it's cool. No, okay, yeah, you can throw me a couple." And then, Maddux hits him with that curveball, and he's just like, "Wait a minute, this guy can pitch."
Yeah. Oh man. Quit putting him on the list, Steph. I'll just kidding. So my team, I had Piazza at catcher. Now, I love Ivan Rodriguez. I probably a little more than Piazza, but again, I just want to be a little bit different. Frank Thomas, the big hurt at first base. There were so many good first basemen in this era. Frank definitely was at the top of the list. Roberto Alomar at second. Biggio is real close second. I just don't believe, Robbie was just awesome. It's like shortstop, I went Barry Larkin. He won an MVP in 95. Played on some not so great Reds teams. I mean, they won the series at 90, but most of his career is on not a really good franchise, and was just such a consistent player. Matty Williams at third, one of my favorite players. Loved him. He would have broke, I think, the home run record in 94 had there not been a strike. He started that thing where he would nibble on his jersey a little bit to help keep his chin tucked in, and he started all of a sudden just bashing the baseball. Barry Bonds in left, in Griffey in center. I went Juan Gone in right field. So this is the guy that didn't take the big money and then should have. Remember that big deal he could have taken with the Tigers?
Tigers
didn't, and kind of regretted that. And I put the big unit, Randy Johnson, on the mound. Now again, A-Rod would have been a good pick. Another second baseman I think that gets missed in this decade was Carlos Baerga.
Sure.
David Justice. We had Kenny Lofton. I mean, there was a lot of names in this decade where they were just right below, but it was such very, very top heavy. But there was also another little group of guys right underneath really good.
I initially had this as a kid. You can't really see the Sport Flicks effect, but it's absolutely one of my favorites of the 90s.
Yeah.
The 95 Sport Flicks Hammer Team, as it were.
Now, if you're doing this pocket page as the best, I think we pretty much nailed the top guys on for the decade. I'm sure there's a couple of names that you could throw out there. If you're doing it for biggest hobby impact, and just because, again, if it's trading card related, I think at first base, you've got to go with either Frank Thomas or Jeff Bagwell over McGuire or any other alternatives because of their rookie cards in the early 90s, right? And their first couple of cards had such an impact. Same thing with, obviously, Griffey would be a no-brainer in center field, but, through the early part of the 90s. And I think that's kind of where we have to look at some of these. Again, third base, I mean, no disrespect to Ventura or any other option. Chipper Jones has got to be the third baseman because of the 91 card. And, Ventura didn't have the same, thumbprint in the hobby at any point over Chipper. And so it's just kind of fun to look at it.
No, I agree. I think if we did it that way, Piazza would probably definitely be a catcher for the, if you're looking at money factor. there's a it slightly changes when you start to look at that. But like as good as Gold says, Albert Bell, he could have easily made this any one of our teams. I mean, he was a masher. Manny Ramirez. You look at those teams, like just go to the Cleveland Indians 1990s teams. As they were in the middle part of that decade, you could just pull that whole starting lineup and been like, okay, here we go. Because Matt Williams was on that team at one point, and you go here, Sandy Alomar Jr., a catcher. Like, I mean, before his injuries, man, woo.
Jeff
He had a
Kent,
6'5" guy catching that had a cannon. Like, there were a bunch of really good guys in the 90s, and so next week we'll hit the 2000s. Jeff Kent, Jeff Kent. I think maybe more in the 2000s than the 90s.
Well, Jeff Kent, I think, suffers the same problem that we were talking about with George Brett last week, where Brett was kind of 75 to 85. And in the 70s, maybe you take Schmidt over Brett, and then in the 80s, you take Boggs over Brett. And so I think the problem with, like, Kent is if he's more like 95, 96 to, like, 04, 05, then he's probably going to get beat out by somebody in both decades.
Mm-hmm.
Not to take anything away from him, but I think some of these guys kind of cross a decade and take halvesies. But hey, hit up About the Cards on Twitter with your best two, of the aughts of the 2000s.
Or your best 90s team. I mean, Canseco would have been a good pick, again, he goes into that like 87 through, was it 95?
94, 95. He suffers
half a decade, his good years are split between 2 decades. So, but we'd love to hear your page, and if you put one together, send us the pic and we'll share it on the show. Guys, any final thoughts before we head out tonight?
Top screwed up royally.
You want to talk about Top's Garbage Pail Kids real quick? We had a few people that asked about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to cover it really quick, I mean, I didn't see everything involved, and I know it was some inappropriate stuff with a Cabbage Patch or a Garbage Pail Kid thing.
I got a screen share coming up here.
Yeah, they had put out their daily stuff. This one was to cover the Grammys or the Shammies, I believe is what they called it. We all know that the Garbage Pail Kids are designed to kind of border that humor, that grotesque, that questionable area, that gray area of what's appropriate and what's not. And humor a lot of times is subjective and, can be borderline and probably slightly offensive, or if not downright offensive, depending on, who's offering that humor. A lot of comedians are not for everybody. I think Topps didn't think this one through, and it shows violence towards members of the Asian community, particularly BTS, I think is the name of the group. They've pulled the card from the set. They issued kind of a very watered down and generic PR response.
Sure. Here's their statement. We hear and understand our consumers who are upset about the portrayal of BTS in our GPK Garbage Pail Kids Shammy Awards product, and we apologize for including it. We have removed the sticker card from the set. We have not printed any of the sticker card, and it will not be available. Topps.
But we hear and understand our consumers. If you go to Topps, where they released this press release, I read through like the first 100 or so, or just kind of skimmed through the first 100. The majority of people that were offended and responded, I don't believe would be considered hobbyists. A lot of them were just offended by a company who chose something inappropriate in their eyes. So I don't think when they say we've hurt our consumers, and I think it goes much beyond that. I don't think.
Well, there's so much other stuff in society that's been going on with the Asian communities throughout the United States, and then there was the shooting in Atlanta, and just like, how are you like? I think it was the tone deafness of what they did. They just the timing one was bad, and two, not to know and understand what was going on in the real world. All at the same time, as ends up being a perfect storm and really bad. I think.
Well, and that's it, really. Topps being tone deaf. Are we really surprised? But
No.
and I mean, I see what they were going for. A band, a group being shut out, and there's a whack-a-mole, and they're being smacked down like, hey, no award for you, no award for you. On the surface level, I get it. But that should have hit some editor and somewhere along the line and said, maybe we don't.
It's like the Burger King tweet we talked about last week, right? Women
Right.
belong in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's like they obviously I can't speak for them, and we're not going to try to defend them. They probably did not mean to offend an entire community, an entire culture, and beyond that. I'm sure there were plenty of people that aren't of Asian descent that were offended by this. I mean, when I read it, I was like, man, that's bad. That's poor taste. You misread.
Well, and that's the thing too. K-pop or Korean pop music fans are rabid for their groups, just like girls in the 90s were rabid for boy bands. But it's online, and everyone can have an opinion and can voice it. So if you check any of Top's most recent tweets, they all have, in the tens of thousands of replies, every single one of them saying, apologize, it's not enough, apologize. And again, it really should have hit an editor of like, maybe we don't offend this huge group that we could be appealing to online.
It's a really bad way to.
They shit on the collectors every day of the year. So let's be honest. Like the people that give them all of their money.
Here's the thing: with such a rabid fan base, you're telling me that they couldn't go, and maybe they have. I don't know. They couldn't go to BTS's, managers or whoever controls the rights to their music and say, "Hey, we would love to do a limited online set to try to bring in a new consumer base." Well, the problem is now you can't do that because you just pissed off that entire group, and completely avoidable. Whether you're just being, ignorance is not a good enough excuse. Naive is borderline. A lot of it depends on what it is, but you can't sit there and say that, well, we just didn't know. I'm sorry.
I love. Yeah, I'll catch up. Go ahead.
Well, just a company this size has got to know that, you've got lawyers, you've got people, you've got PR people, you hire smart people in theory. You've got to run it by them and say, hey, we're thinking about doing this card. What do you think? And you're going to have somebody say, you know what? See you working, but it's not the right idea. Back to the drawing board. This is not one that we would recommend releasing. And maybe somebody was the adult in the room and did. And somebody overruled it. We don't know. We weren't privy to that information. Sure. But today was not a good day to be Tops. And it wouldn't surprise me if the Garbage Pail Kids... I don't think they would get discontinued, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have as much support moving forward with that particular brand.
Or maybe they're just not as edgy going forward. But what I loved was Suze's suggestion. They could create a new trading card set depicting popular Asian artists, donate all the proceeds to an anti-violence organization, and add a matching donation. Also reach out to Asian organizations, create education programs for employees to ensure that it doesn't happen again.
But again,
that's not a bad idea.
They won't do that. They're going to move on. They shit on us every day. Like they can't put out the print runs. They can't do this, but they send out stuff to make their money. And the end of the day, who cares? Because we got our stuff.
Bottom line is, as hobbyists, are we going to stop buying from Tops because they did something stupid?
No, because it doesn't matter.
I know certain people that have.
Good.
Because how are you going to get baseball cards? I mean, you're going to go buy Donruss? Go buy 2013 Triple Play that they're still printing?
Triple Play was great until you put those little eye patches under your eye and try to rip them off. It took away half of your cheek.
I nearly have a master set.
Oh my God! Stop. Any final thoughts, guys, before we head out?
No, not really. It's a great week. Next week I will be back in Dallas. Knock on wood. Saturday's in question for the whatnots, but Ben should be there. 3B/
Yeah, 3B collection. Herman.
Herman, thank you for the assist.
Again, if
it's nearly one.
We're gonna try to do this bi-weekly from now on. We've done it the last couple of weekends. Herman and I are gonna try to see if we can get one or two other guys or gals to commit to being kind of the hosts, just in case he or I can't make it every other week. We'd really like to be able to do this consistently to where the schedule moving forward. Everybody in the hobby is invited. You can come stay for 5 minutes. You can stay. They've been running about 2 hours. Come say hi. Come poke in. There's never a topic. Once in a while, we'll have kind of something to talk about. Last week, we've been talking about the Hall of Fame a lot lately, guys that should be in, shouldn't be in. Last week, we were talking about team sets. Is there a right or wrong way to collect team sets? How many is too many?
Yeah, you put them in numerical order, not by name.
Okay, whatever. Lou Whitaker belongs in the Hall of Fame. How's that? I got a whole stack of Topps big right here. 8 brand new Maguires just came in.
I was going to show you tonight how to fix a Topps big card, but I don't think I want to do it because I think you guys would be upset with me.
Fold it in half or trim it.
I was going to cut it down to size. All right, guys, remember we're live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific.
11 Eastern, 10 Central.
On YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and review our show on all platforms. Follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at our trading cards. Follow Steph at JunkWaxTons. You always follow me at BigShep79. Please share your hobby stories, great polls, and send your questions our way. Keep collecting. We'll talk to you all later.